Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lauren if you're new here, and if you're not new and you came back, thank you. Today is the conclusion of my 6-month Project Pan project. It's been 6 months, and this is the first Project Pan that I've ever attempted. So we're gonna go through some numbers. I always like to talk about how much I used each product, how I ended up feeling about the product at the end of the month, did my emotions change about it. And what I want to conclude with is my thoughts on Project Pan as a whole. If I do it again, and if I did, what I would change about my Project Pan. Because this has been a very illuminating venture for me to go on. It really is. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to just run through the products that we used and tell you how many times I used them in the month of November. I know it's December, this video is coming out a little bit late. And let's get into the numbers first. I've got my Excel spreadsheet pulled up, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the primers that I chose. So the first one we're gonna talk about is the MAC Prep and Prime Natural Radiance Base Primer in Radiant Pink. Now, I only used this a total of 2 times in November, and that's because I finished it. It's gone. It took me 23 usages to finish this travel size, which is insane. I don't use a lot of product on my face. I don't try to cake it on. I try to use just the amount I need 23 times. I think I might have used it once or twice before adding it into the Project Pan, but that's insane. But it's finished. We panned it, so yay. I have to get Kitty situated or else he'll be bumping the camera the entire time. Do you have any opinions on Project Panning? He said no. The next primer I'm going to talk about is the Fenty Hydrating Primer, Pro Filter Hydrating Primer in Soft Silk. Okay, I was a little freaked out by how old this was. I didn't use it. I didn't use it at all during this Project Pan, so I don't know what I was thinking. It just didn't happen. But I actually used it today. It's December, so it doesn't count towards my Project Pan, but I'm like, look, I either need to use it I need to get rid of it. Like, why am I keeping something that I'm scared to use? And so far, my face is reacting fine. The product smelled fine. Everything seems fine. So I don't think I'll be getting rid of it still. I kind of failed on it in my Project Pan, but it was always a good primer, so I want to keep it around. And as long as my face doesn't break out into hives tonight, we should be good. We've got a couple different foundations. The first one is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation in the color 3 Neutral. I thought I'd be able to finish this in November and I just didn't. It didn't happen. I did use it a total of, 5 times, bringing my total usage to 29 times. It's still going strong. It's still got some product in there. So I am going to try to use it as much as possible in December so I can hopefully add it to my December empties. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I really don't. I hope it does, but we will see. It just lasts longer than you think. But I like this product from the beginning. It is kind of a heavier finish than I typically go for, but when I need a little more coverage, this is a great one for me to go to. My beloved Dior Airflash. This is their Airflash foundation in the color 2N. This is in my Project Pan because it no longer exists for some reason that no one can explain. Dior discontinued this product, and let me apologize if you hear a cat in the background. It's his dinner time, but he gets fed through an IV right now, so it's not quite dinner time. He's got 15 minutes. He's just very impatient. I love the Dior Airflash. I do. 2N is like kind of my summer color. I think that's why I didn't pull it out very often during the winter or fall. I guess, I don't even know. I don't know what season we're in yet. But I used this a total of 5 times in November. Nope, 3 times in November, bringing my total usage to 8 times. Now, this is one of the products that I introduced 3 months into my Project Pan. I switched some stuff out in the middle of my Project Pan, so this was one of the newer ones, but 8 times is kind of sad for 3 months. Okay, it's kind of sad, Lauren. But I will continue to use it. It's still great. But normally in Dior foundations, I am a 1.5N, so this one was just a little bit dark. It's on my face right now, and even putting it on, I'm like, yeah, it's a little bit dark, but I still love it. It's still a great product. If it still existed, I would get it in the 1.5N because it's so good. We have another Dior product. This is the Backstage Concealer in 1N. As you can see, it's getting there. It's getting empty. I used this a total of 4 times in November, bringing my total to 32 times. Couple things about this. The reason it's in my project pan is that I hate the packaging, and I only hate the packaging because it oozes out and it just gets filthy. It's just, you can't travel with it. I made that mistake once and it did not travel well. Let's just put it that way. I do really like this concealer, but when I am having like darker under eyes or they're even more hollow than typical, this is not the one that I go for. It doesn't do a great job covering. It does a good job lightening, if that makes sense, but it definitely doesn't cover my under eyes. So I like it on more kind of like natural days when I don't really care as much, when I'm not, you know, going to be on camera or something like that. I have it on now. It's doing okay. Like, I like it. I do like it, but it's just not super heavy in the concealing aspect. So I'm going to continue to use it. I am. My beloved Hourglass Translucent Veil Setting Powder. Woo, okay, so I used this a total of 7 times in November, bringing my total to 55 times. It's getting there, but it is not done. I would say it's got maybe a third left to it. Prior to this, I had no idea how long a setting powder could last me. It's lasting forever. It's a great powder, luckily, so I will continue to keep it and use it. I'll probably take a break from it after this, but it's still going. It's still in there. Oh, I don't know how many more times it's gonna take for me to use it. I'm almost tempted to continue to keep track of it, but it's a good powder. It's just, how do people finish powders? That's my question. Next up, we have the MAC, what is this called? Lightscapade Mineralize Skinfinish. This one's just so pretty. I've had it in my collection for so long, and I just found myself never using it. So for this one, I only used it once in the month of November, bringing my total to 7 times. Not very impressive. The reason why I didn't use it more is because it's got quite a bit of shimmer in it. So it's not something I typically like wearing throughout the day. It's kind of like an event sort of, you know, powder. It's like good at night. It's good when I'm on camera, but it's not something I typically would wear day to day. I like a little bit of shimmer in my powder, but not overly shimmery. And this one definitely is pretty shimmery. It's beautiful. I love it, but it's just not something that I like to wear during the day. So still love it. Gonna continue to use it, but didn't make a great dent in that one. Next up, we have highlighters. So the first one is the ColourPop Stole the Show Super Soft Cheek. That is a tongue twister. Super Shock Cheek. And I used this only once in November, bringing my total to 4 times. You can see the dip in there. I do have it on my face today. It's a beautiful glowy highlighter. It is in your face. Va va voom. Love this highlighter. Just the past few months, I've been just very focused on work, and this is not a work highlighter for me. I tend to like something a little more subtle with a highlighter when I go into work. So this one is just very, very glowy, very obvious. Again, it's kind of like the MAC Skinfinish, where it's good at night, it's good for events, but would I wear it like on an average day? I mean, probably, knowing me, but typically it's not something that I would wear going into work. So I still love it, and you know what? It's not dried out or anything. Smells fine, works good, so it's still holding strong, and I've had this one for a while, so it always concerns me with any of the Super Shock products from ColourPop, but it's still going well. Next up, we have the Bobbi Brown Highlighting Powder in Pink Glow. This was a special edition one, so it's beautiful packaging, beautiful product. This is more subtle. This is something that I would pull out for work. I only used it 3 times in November, bringing my total to 12 times, which actually isn't bad. This has only been in my project pan for 3 months. So I like it a lot, I do, but I just have issues when it comes to, you know, blush and highlighters where I like to change them out a lot. So yeah, didn't use it as much, but you can kind of see a little dent in one of the flowers. So I'm making progress for sure. And it's beautiful. Like, this is just an absolutely classic, beautiful, much more subtle highlighter than the ColourPop. I absolutely love this product. Bronzer, we only have one bronzer. This is the Park Avenue Princess Bronzer by Tarte. This is the matte edition. And let's see, I used it 6 times in November, is bringing my total to 14 times. This is another one that came in kind of late to the game, but I can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I can see the ribbing of the pan underneath. So we definitely made progress. The pan is not as deep as you think it is just by looking at the product. So it's going, we're getting there. And I actually really like this bronzer. This is the matte version. I actually have the shimmer version as well, because of course I do. But I actually really enjoy this. You know, I have been just going for cream products for the most part, which is why I chose a powder for my project pan. And I was just happily surprised by how non-pouchy and easy this was to apply. So I do really like this bronzer. And no one ever talks about Tarte, so, you know, give some love to Tarte. Okay, this is embarrassing. Up next is the Tower 28 blush in Beach Please Magic Hour. I always forget if it's called Magic Hour or Beach Please. It's one of those. It's a mess, it's dirty. Cream products tend to get a little bit dirty, especially around me, between the fuzz that just comes off my body somehow and the amount of animals that I have in my house. It's just, it looks gross, but it's a fantastic product. I love this blush. What's embarrassing is that I did not use it in November. Did not even realize I did not use it. I only used this a total of 5 times during my project pan, so would not call that a success, but blush is just, again, just like we talked about with the highlighters, I just never like to use the same one 2 days in a row. So that's something, if I do another project pan, I need to realize and work on, you know, just a little bit of stability in my makeup routine. But fantastic color, great neutral colored blush that I really like for any situation. It's perfect. My beloved Surratt blush in Barbe Papa. It is this bright shimmery pink. It's not quite as bright on the face unless you go in with the heavier hand, but I only used this once in November. Total of 6 times. Again, failed in the blush category. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like, Surratt has this formula that is the softest, most silkiest feeling blush that I have ever felt, and it just makes me want to wear it all the time. Clearly I didn't. I have been using a couple others of my Surratt blushes because I love the formula so much. Okay, Kitty, are you rearranging yourself? But I just wasn't reaching for this one particularly as much. So still a great blush, still love it, still part of my collection. So yeah, I don't know if this one is gonna survive my declutter, guys. I just don't know. This is the Chanel Le Beige Eau de Blush. It's in the color light pink. It's these balls of color suspended in gel, and it's just, the application is just not great. You can't really control the amount of product that you're getting each time. Like, you know, I go in with 2 pumps. That's too much. Don't go in with 2 pumps. Go in with 1 pump, then add another pump if you need it. But I don't know. I didn't use it. I didn't use it. I only use this a total. This has been with me since the beginning of my project pan, so 6 months. I've only used it 5 times. Like, I think of the last video, I made a promise that I was going to use this more. I didn't. I did not. Which makes me think that I just don't like it as a product, and I don't. But you know what? I spent $50 on this blush, so I don't know if I'll be getting rid of it. I don't know. It's on the chopping block. $50 though. Okay, next up I have a face palette. This is the MAC Studio Sculpt palette. I have mine in the color light medium. It looks like this. It's got all these different powder shades in it. When I first initially used it, I didn't like it, but I've used it a couple more times. Only once in November, bringing my total to 3 times. And I like it more. I like it more. I'm not doing a face palette declutter at the end of the year because I did one kind of mid-year, so I'll probably punch another one out in 6 months. And I want to use this one more before that comes up because there are a couple colors that I really like. Like, this is a great contour shade. It's a little more cool toned, which I like better on my skin, but I just don't know how much use I'm really gonna get out of this one. So I can see myself decluttering it in the future. Not now, but maybe in the future. The eyeshadow palette that I picked for this round was the Sydney Grace Enduring Love palette. I only used it once in November, bringing my total to 9 times. The outer packaging. This is what the inside looks like. It is on my eyes today. I went for kind of a smoky look, and I kind of really like it actually. Yeah, what is there to say? I love Sydney Grace. The whole reason that this was in my project pan was because it was getting neglected and I wanted to give it some love. But the thing is, I already knew I loved Sydney Grace's formula, so I don't know if I necessarily needed to put this one in my project pan. But you know what? I used every single color in here and I love them all. I really do. You know, initially I didn't like Darcy, this like salmony color, but I kind of did a 180. I saw myself on video wearing it and I actually really like the look. So I think I like every color in here. Crazy. It's a fantabulous formula. Sydney Grace is great, one of my favorite indie brands. So yeah, this is a great palette. One thing I don't think I'll ever include on a future project pan, if I do one again, is a lipstick, because I didn't use it. I didn't use it at all. This is from Dior. This is their Rouge lipstick. Yeah, I didn't use it at all. It's in the color 999. It's a great color. Just wasn't quite the month for lipstick, if you know what I mean. And then I have the Hourglass Veil lip thingy in the color Mist. It doesn't have the name of the product on it, which is fine. Hourglass, you're bougie. I get it. It's in this color. This one is on my lips, actually. It's a great product, but with lip products, especially with this, I tend to like throw it in my purse and use it as much as possible, but I don't really keep track. I know I've been using it. I just can't tell you how many times. So I put 4. 4 sounded right. Bringing it a total approximate that's not even close to 6. But we don't know the real number because I don't keep track of lip products. I want to use them up. That's the goal. You know, that's the goal. But still going. Still going. Overall, the items that I picked up for my project pan, including the ones that I've switched out, the total number of usage I've gotten for everything over this past 6 months is 432 times. And we did finish a handful of products. Primers tended to be the easiest, it seemed. We got one tinted sunscreen done too, which is pretty amazing. But let's talk about my thoughts on project pans. If I would do it again, and if I did, what would I change about it? Now, going into this project pan, I knew it was going to be rough for me because I have a very large collection and I like to switch things out quite frequently. I very rarely like using the same thing multiple days in a row. The exception is foundations and primers and powders. Those ones I can wear over and over again. Doesn't really faze me, and that's why it was so easy for me to go through primers, because I didn't have a problem using them day after day. You know, like they either work or they don't. You know, that's kind of how I see them. And as long as they're working, I'm going to continue to use them. So that made it much easier for me to use up certain products. But then there are other products that it's really hard for me to just use them over and over. And it's definitely blush, highlighter, lipstick. Bronzer is kind of okay when I find one I like. I can use it a lot, but it was hard for this project pan because I picked a powder and I've just been leaning more towards creams. But it's a great powder, so I just was naturally tending to go for creams more. Now, my friend here on YouTube recommended, actually it was a great recommendation that I did not do, that if I do another project pan, I will be doing, but pick out the items that you want to do as your like everyday look. Anytime that you don't necessarily want to put a lot of thought and effort into the look, just have these items ready. Just use them over and over. Those are your project pan items. Those are, you know, 5 from your project pan, and you can use those over and over. And that's really what I needed to do. And I didn't do it, but I was going into work so often that I think going into next year, that's what I'm going to want to do. Regardless or not if I do a project pan, just having a basket of 5 items, 1 foundation, 1 blush, 1 bronzer that I use over and over will make my life much easier and will help me get through some of these products because, oh my God, it's really hard, okay? It's really hard to put a pan, and even something like a cream blush, like this one is getting worked on and it looks like it's getting worked on. It is dirty, but there's no pan there. I don't even think I'm close to a pan, so we're still working on it. Now, would I do a project pan again? I think so. I think so. This was challenging for me. I don't feel like I used the products nearly enough. I really don't. And I think there's a couple things that I would change when I do it again. And I think I want to start in January of next year. I think part of the problem of this year is that I did pick a lot of products that I already knew I liked. And yes, they weren't getting a whole lot of attention, but I knew I liked them. So they would have got attention eventually. I think what I want to do is I want to start picking items that I just kind of don't have an opinion on. Don't have any opinion on. Maybe I've used it a couple times, it's just blank in my head. And again, I'll probably end up throwing some expensive items in there to get more use out of them, to get their price out of them. But it's really about using these products that I'm like, why are you in my collection? And are you in my collection for a good reason? Are you here because I like you? Or are you just taking up space? That's really what I want to do, because as of right now, I can't see myself, maybe this, but I can't really see myself decluttering any of these products. I like them a lot. So I think what I would want to do is I just want to pick items that, even items that I don't like, items that I'm pretty sure I don't like, that maybe I just need to play with more. Now the first half of my project pan, I had some items like that and I ended up switching them out, but I already know they're going to be in my declutters. Like, I'm going to get rid of them because I did not enjoy using them. I tried to use them and I used them enough to know that I didn't like them. So I definitely going to talk about them in my declutters, but that's what I need to do more of. This second round, you know, the last 3 months, I feel like I went too easy on myself. So I really want to do more challenging products. I think I want to do like a larger assortment of products maybe as well. I think that might make it a little bit easier as well. And I want to continue keeping track of how many times I use them, because I really like that. And it's really enlightening to see how many times I can use, say, this friggin' setting powder from Hourglass and barely make a dent in it 55 times, and it's still going strong. So that's kind of crazy. I think that really helps me put into perspective the insane amount of makeup I have and how I will never go through it. It's never gonna happen. I'm never gonna finish it. So it's a little daunting, but I think, you know, I want to finish more products, and I really do think that this project pan has helped me to finish some products that I wouldn't have finished if they weren't in this project. So that's actually really exciting. I just know that I need to buckle down on some of these products and use them more. And again, just pick out those 5 items that I want to use over and over again when I don't want to think about something. When I wake up in the morning, don't have any plans to film anything, I'm just working on work stuff, non-fun stuff, and just slap them on my face and go throughout my day. That's what I want to do. So I think that is a plan for my January project pan, which I'm excited for. This was challenging for me because, you know, typically I'm just like, it's not going to work for me. It's not. I like to use different things too much. No, I need to do this. This is good for me. It's good to see what's in my collection, and it's good to use items that I'm not sure if I would want to use. You know, it's simple as that. Whew. I hope you enjoyed these past 6 months of my project pan. This has been a great experience, and I really appreciate you joining me on it, and yeah, just watching my progress, because it keeps me goal-oriented too. Knowing that people are observing means that I can't mess up. I gotta do this right. Gotta do it for the people, okay? As I say at work, when I end a meeting early, I will give you the rest of your time back, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!